Hey, everybody, welcome in. Good to see you. This is episode 1 of One Guy Who Plays Games and 3 Idiots that are... Wait, hold on. Let me check. That's actually not the name of the show. I apologize. This is Split Screen. This is a podcast where we talk about different video games. If you're wondering who the 3 idiots were, it's definitely not the one talking. It is the other people that I'm joined by. Of course, these are all long-term friends. We've been a good friend group for a long time. Starting with, out of no specific order, Dan, which you can see.
Yeah, no specific order.
Yeah. let's be honest. I started with the best, right? How are you? I just want to give you a quick introduction. Kind of tell me your taste in games, your name, kind of how long you've been playing, and kind of your top 3 that would explain your taste to somebody who wouldn't know you. Some people that might be checking this podcast out randomly on YouTube or anything like that. So go ahead, give me your top 3 and kind of how long you've been playing and stuff.
Yeah, Dan Gallagher, EHS specialist, Valmont Elkhart. That's my name and title. Games. So top 3. I'm
canceling this show.
The hard thing for me was picking one, so I know I grouped them together, like the Elder Scrolls games, right? Like, and really Fallout, like those style of games, because I go back and forth. They're probably all equally.
I got you.
In a list for me.
Yeah.
And then your RTS games, your Age of Empires, your Command and Conquers, like those whole series, big part of gaming. First game I ever played on a PC, like real game I ever played on a PC was Age of Empires 2.
Fuck yeah.
And then, third, I found it to be probably crafting games. Pick your crafting, like kind of survival game. Think a Medieval Dynasty, think a No Man's Sky, think something that's just kind of open and you figure it out, right? Like,
so it's easier for you to pick a genre than it would be an actual game. Which is fair.
Because like I said, Morrowind holds a place, but so does Skyrim. But it's time, right? They're so far apart. They kind of and RuneScape kind of falls in there too.
They're all very similar, which is cool.
Yeah.
Andy, what about you? What do you got? What's kind of your taste? What's your go-to stuff that you kind of I think between the two of us, you and I are probably the widest range of types of games that we play. But go ahead, give me your 3, maybe even if it is genres, because that's a little bit easier. So let me know what you got.
Yeah, I kind of cheated too. I was thinking about this long and hard, so I can definitely tell you my top 2 favorite games. You got Alan Wake 2 and Last of Us 2. Those are my top 2 favorite games. They're masterpieces in my eyes.
Thank you.
And after that, it's a tough choice. I'll name some series as well. So some of my favorite series: Gears of War, Halo, Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, and Legend of Zelda. Love them all, play them all. Like you said, Jordan, play all kinds of different stuff. Really, action adventure, that's probably one of my favorite genre.
Right. It's a wide net too, which is huge. What else do you think, John? You know what, I'm gonna throw you in here. I gotta get you going first before I go. So I want to know, John, what do you think? And I say John, and I'm gonna say John even though it says Leprechaun Bomb down there. It's aka LB's, aka LB International, aka
ripped off. Boy, there's no mystery here. Who's this guy? Oh, he's John.
He's John. For everyone who doesn't know, John, so what are your go-to genres or games? What do you got?
Hi there. Hello. I am Leprechaun Bomb, also known as John in the real world.
Here we are. Here we go.
My favorite 3. We're gonna go with The Godfather, Halloween, and Dirty Dancing. We're talking video games.
I'm gonna fucking lose my. You said Dirty Dancing. I'm gonna
fucking
lose it. It is getting canceled. One show only.
Some loves.
It's a one of one show going on here. Never to be seen again.
It's gonna be a live
three games, 3 game series. I'm gonna go with, I guess not necessarily series, but
Minecraft.
I will always have a soft spot for the Resident Evil series. That was probably my first foray into any kind of video games. I was
oh shit! What an introduction!
7, 8, 9.
What an introduction! You're like, hey, you're 7. Anyway. What game you want to play? I think I want to step. My first video game ever is gonna be Resident Evil. Okay.
Yep. My older cousin brought over and popped Resident Evil 2 in on the PlayStation, and that just that just had me from there. So I've always Resident Evil, anything just gets me there. I am currently into almost anything simulator. So as the background there, I'm currently deep dived into the supermarket simulator. This is my store behind me, LB's. That is so. Simulator games, they're super fun. They're super fun to just get in and lose yourself in. Whether it's a supermarket one, running a store, an office simulator where you're the boss of your own company. Whether you're a car mechanic building cars, contract, building houses and things like that. It's just a super fun
all things
venture.
You can't do in real life.
All things that these hands are not doing in real life.
You know
life.
what though?
Absolutely.
What are video games good for? Escape. You know what I mean? Put yourself in the shoes of something that you can't normally do. And guess what? For some of us, that's simple things, right?
I can command a medieval army. Easy.
And then my third one, sort of also in line, well, I guess not really with the simulator. I'm a Minecraft guy. Back in 2011, 12, I think, circa that time. My first big boy job, I was working at Kmart, and this guy Jordan gives me a call. Hey, Xbox, there's this demo for this game called Minecraft. I think you would enjoy it. And this was at like 10 o'clock at night. I had to work the next morning. And I think I stayed up all night playing that Minecraft demo. And here we are 15 years later. And
I forgot that.
So many hours into Minecraft.
Yeah,
I forget that
mistreated your friends in that game too.
I forget that's how that started. I keep forgetting that. I don't know if credit is the right thing I need to take out of that, or if you know what I mean, or I'm to blame for it. Right. Yeah. Or blame is a good way to put it. But I forgot that's how that worked out. But man, not to date us or anything else. You just kind of aged us all as far as hey, back in my day when I had a big boy job, you know what I mean? But
at Kmart.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kmart. What kind of store?
There's a lot of people that might check this out that don't know what that is. Kmart used to be a store. It was just like a crappier Walmart.
For myself, just to kind of to get the topic moving, I look over here because I have wall art of different games. Halo's going to be my biggest one. I'm a big From Software guy, so Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, obviously Elden Ring, Night Rain, and Elden Ring by itself. I think masochist is the best way to put that, right? For people who enjoy those games. And I can confirm that's probably the case. And if I had to, BioShock's a big one. I'm going to throw a kind of honorable mention since I think I'm the only fighting game general casual here. But I think Tekken is a big one for me too. I really, really enjoy Tekken. It's always been my favorite fighter for whatever reason. I genuinely I think I lean towards 3D fighters more than the 2D fighters for whatever reason. I think I just like that aspect of those. But
Bloody Roar.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude! Don't get me started on Bloody Roar. That game needs to come back so hard. But I appreciate that. Thank you guys for all the input. That kind of gives everybody a peek behind the curtain, a little bit of our taste in games, what we enjoy. There are some games that'll probably come up that will be like, you know what, that's not us, right? You know what I mean? There's things that maybe we dipped our toes in Final Fantasy. We're not really finding Final Fantasy people these days, right? It's kind of like that kind of stuff. So, do we love games? Hell yeah. Do we love them all? Not necessarily, right? So you're going to get a wide net, but a little bit more focused with this podcast and this group than I think you'll get other places. Without that, I'll kind of explain what this show is going to be kind of all about. I myself, I have been playing games for a very, very long time, just like these gentlemen here. But this is just going to be something we're going to talk about, kind of the recent events, the hot topics, the more popular stuff. Sometimes we'll get into lists that we might create ourselves just to get our opinion and kind of hot takes out there. But yeah, we're just going to run through stuff. A lot of the stuff we would talk about offhand anyways, if we had the time. So we figured, hey, just like everybody else who's got a camera and a mic and a computer, we're just going to record it and see what happens and throw it out there into the ether. So we appreciate you if you guys are watching. We really, really appreciate it. Hopefully you'll be on with this journey with us for a long time. But without further ado, the last couple of weeks have been pretty big when it comes to announcements and just the video game sphere. Used to be called E3, not called that anymore, right? I've heard so many things of it being called Jeff Chella, which is Coach Hella, but Jeff Keighley, right? I've heard Key 3, which is Jeff Keighley E3, right? So he started his own thing with the Summer Game Fest. And of course they had their showcase, and usually people will put a lot of announcements or showcases around there because they know that's a hot week, right? Did you guys get any chances to watch them? I know it's kind of busy and it's honestly a long haul if you're going to catch a lot of those shows. But Andy, did you catch any of them live, or did you kind of have to go back and catch up?
I didn't watch any of them live, but I went back and like watched all the announcements.
Gotcha. Yep.
Or at least most of them. So, uh,
is there
got to see what's out there, even if you don't get it at the time.
Yeah. Is there one that came, like, since you were able to play catch up, you kind of get to watch it at your own pace, which is probably the way to do it if you're not into like catching it as it comes out and being like the person to watch it live, right? Is there any of them, any games that got announced that you kind of were like, holy shit, I need to be on the lookout for this one, or something? Okay, so give me one you knew about that you got to see more of that you were excited, and maybe give me a second one that caught you off guard if you have one. If you don't, that's completely fine, and I understand.
Oh yeah. So one that I knew about that I've been waiting for is the new 007 game.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since it was announced, I've been looking forward to that, and they gave it a name, First Light, and it looked amazing. It looked similar to Hitman, but even more to it. So super hyped for that one. Definitely
being developed by the same team, which is huge too. Which, if there's somebody who's going to do a James Bond game, I would trust them to do it.
Yeah, IO's.
IO Interactive.
Yep. One that I was really interested in, that I think this was the first time they said the name of it, was Stranger Than Heaven. It looked like similar to Yakuza in the fighting style. It's made by the people who do Yakuza, the Sega, and
RGG.
It's set during it's set during World War II, and of course, you're similar to that. You're in Japan, I believe, so that may come into play. That looked really cool, and I'm excited to see more about that too.
Yeah, if there's one, those guys pump out pretty quality products. I know Dan's pretty familiar with RGG and the Yakuza series and all the stuff that they put out. Like a Dragon, if you're from, I think that's that's what they call it in Japan. I think is Like a Dragon, and then they started just everything is Like a Dragon now. That one looks very interesting. I'm gonna be honest with you, have not played any of the Yakuza games. I did play one, and it was the latest one. It was Yakuza is what everybody was calling it because it was the pirate themed. Majima was a pirate, right? And he lost his memory and did all that kind of absolutely fucking hilarious. I love that game. It made me want to go back and play some of the other ones. Dan, how about you? Did you get a couple that you caught, maybe that your attention or anything like that?
Well, one that I guess like just hearing about it, I'm like, yeah, that it reminded me that they had announced it a little while back, and now we've got things Outer Worlds too. Like I remember the last trailer, but it like just kind of had faded out of my memory. Like then they announced it, and so it was nice to see that like they were like, here it is, and here's a firm date, like it's coming. The other one that kind of caught me a little, I don't want to say like, I guess it was a little surprising, was the Grounded 2 wasn't surprising. I guess I hadn't heard anything about it, so I was like, oh, that's kind of going to be neat. But that's,
talk about the year of Obsidian, right? Like, I mean, they're launching 3 quality games in a year. It's bananas crazy these days, right? Absolutely crazy. So
High on Life 2, that was another one that came out of nowhere.
I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, for sure.
So there's definitely some ones that were like, I would say pleasant surprise. Like obviously what would have like shocked me, I think we talked about it the other day, any information on the next Elder Scrolls game. Like even if it was like, hey, it's still going to be a decade.
Yeah.
Like I'm convinced that trailer that they had, they're like, just use recycled assets, something else. And they're like, we haven't even thought about this at all.
Yeah. Like, by the way, shout out to Dragon or Hermes. I used to do this podcast a long time ago with 2 others. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but don't feel like I've cheated on you or talk about my exes with my current love interests. But he made a joke a while ago that game wasn't going to come out until like 2033. And I was like, you're full of shit. I was like, no, you're absolutely nuts. And the more this every year that goes by, I'm like, if he's right, I'm probably going to owe him something. Right. But yeah, I think seeing something on Elder Scrolls would be huge. Right. But I think with their slew of studios that Xbox has, they have to be strategic. They have to be, right. They can't have two games beating each other up at the same time frame of the year. And they still have Fable to push out. They want to probably give Elder Scrolls
no information on that. No more like maybe another teaser would have been nice.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people where I don't need another teaser. I think give me substance, right? I don't need to tell me it's in the works still, because I just assume it is. You've made the announcement. My assumption is that it's going to be. But my prediction is that Fable will have a direct next year at the Xbox showcase, and then it'll release that fall. And then that leading year after will be the same thing with Elder Scrolls 6. That's my opinion. I would love everything to be here now, but I would also love them to be good. John,
all right.
I think you and I might have the same answer for this. I'm going to be honest with you.
Cut in real quick before John goes.
Yeah.
I got to add another one that I forgot about. Another one that I don't know if you guys watch this, but if you haven't, you need to watch this. Felt That Boxing. Have you watched the trailer?
That Boxing? No, I have not seen that.
So, okay, so you need to go watch this because it looks amazing for being a game, and you play as like a Muppet.
I did see this.
Like a Muppet, and it looks hilarious.
Boxing.
It looks hilarious.
That's crazy.
Like, I gotta play this whenever it comes out.
It looks like a game that's absolutely up your alley. If there was an Andy game, Felt That Boxing looks like an Andy game.
That's an Andy ass game through and through. You know what I mean?
Muppets look like Crank Anchors meets Punch Out.
yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
That's hilarious. That's great. That's a good call. That's a good. That cutting in is well worth it. But John, I think you and I are going to have the same answer on kind of what was announced.
So,
but go ahead and
we'll say it on 3.
No, you just say it. I trust you fully to say this. And if you say something else, I'm fucking ending it right now.
Lego Voyagers.
He's like, Lego Party. I'm like, fuck.
Well, I gotta build. We gotta build up here.
True.
So I will lead off with Lego Voyagers. Soft spot for Lego games. I think I've got most of all the Lego different movie genre franchises there that they did. The Lego Star Wars, the Lego Indiana Jones, the Lego Marvels, your Lego Jurassic Parks, all those. I love the Lego games. I'm a big old achievement whore on my Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Lego series is one of those games that you can get into and you can absolutely grind out and whore out those achievements to get that score up. So it's a
collectathon too, right? Like, I mean, it's just a collection, a collecting game left and right of all the different types of bricks and everything. Yeah.
Yep. So Lego Voyagers got the co-op game like most of them are. This one's about building spaceships, excitement and friendships. That being said, I'm not holding my breath out on this one. Like all the other Lego games. The Lego video game franchise, in my opinion, I think it has taken a step down over the past few years. It's not what it used to be. If I can stand on my soapbox and have my get off my lawn moment, the Lego games just aren't the same anymore.
Kind of on that front though.
Stake your flag, John. The Lego
kind of on that front though. Do you feel that's because they've run out of licenses? Right? Because like that was their main draw, right? Lego Marvel, Lego Avengers, you had Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, you know what I mean? Jurassic Park. Yeah. They had all these key franchises.
Ran out of shit.
Right. Yeah. They're like, what else do we do?
But there's still more out there. Like, come on, like, can we not do Lego Godfather?
Oh my God. What? You shoot somebody and like red bricks just spurt out, you know what I mean? Like that'd be hilarious. Yeah, that's what we're missing. We're missing an M-rated Lego game. You're right. I think everybody would agree with you.
That's right. Yeah, with the when Luca Brasi gets murdered and they send fish wrapped in the body armor. A Lego fish wrapped in a Lego body armor. Like, come on.
You could add John Wick. You could add a bunch of comedy to it, like the Lego comedy that you get. I think that'd be funny. That'd be really funny.
Bring it up.
You know what's interesting about that Lego Voyager game though? I didn't know it was being published by Annapurna Interactive. I had no idea, which I don't know if that's going to mean anything to anybody else, but that's more of a there. I've always taken Annapurna to be kind of the artsy A24 of the video game industry. So that's kind of cool. Also,
this is a pivot.
Visually
from
for sure
from a lot of the Lego games. So that's all I got on that one. Mafia. I mean, for how many years have you and I always talked about the Mafia games?
Yeah,
but
dude.
you know, ironically, for as big of a Godfather fan as I am, I've never sat down and played a freaking Mafia game. I've beaten through and through the Godfather and Godfather 2 on Xbox 360
for many people.
And I know that I would enjoy the Mafia series. I just never took the time to sit down and do it.
Yeah.
But I've watched the trailers, I've watched the games, I've read about them. They all look fantastic. I know that I would enjoy it. But you know, time is a thief. And that's just something that I've never gotten to sit down. So the new one, Mafia the Old Country, it looks like another banger. Looks like that'll be another good one. But I have also got Killer Inn.
Oh, really? That's interesting to you?
That's interesting to me. It's like halfway down my alley of like the things that I enjoy. You know, it's got people that like. I'm reading some comments on the trailer, and you know the fighters in this game, if you will. Like, there's a lot of people that like I don't recognize the thing. Like I'm seeing comments that are like, "Oh, you can't just sell a game with a cast of Final Fantasy VII remake NPCs," and you know, and again, never playing those games. Like that stuff means nothing to me. So I don't know if these are like new people or like some.
No, they're just saying they look very generic. Is what those characters look like. Is what they're saying.
Okay, but the idea of
that's crazy.
You know, if we can pull from some real life board games, you know, that I'm a huge fan of. You know, we're all familiar with the Secret Hitler board game.
As a liberal,
one night ultimate. As a liberal, you know, this is how we feel. This is not a political show.
No, liberal isn't what it means today that it meant then. So
that is correct. Yeah. So if ever we say as a liberal, we're only talking about that board game.
Yeah,
we're not talking about anything real life.
It's a deep cut into the long friendship that is this group, and you won't get it. So we apologize for that. But the brief description is going to give it to you. Yeah, we will slip up 100%.
You've got board games like that. You've got board games like One Night Ultimate Werewolf and all the other different One Night Ultimate type animals and all those, where there's, you know, a hidden killer and your job is to suss them out and find them and whatnot. And that Killer Inn, that aspect, I'm like, well, you've got me, you've got my interest there.
Yeah.
But then you know, watching the trailer, it devolves into some kind of a shooting fest, and I'm like, what are we? What are we doing in this game?
Yeah, pick a lane.
Maybe this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, exactly. Pick a lane. I don't know what lane this game is trying to be with that, but it looks tryable. It looks something that I would like that. There's a killer. Figure out who it is. Okay, I'd like that.
I've always thought that you would enjoy, and that one kind of threw me off. I didn't see that coming. That's out of left field, especially from you, which is good. That's kind of what this is all about. But I wonder if you, and maybe, you know, Dan and Andy, you guys know John obviously just as long as I do, but do you think John would enjoy I think isometric is what I'm talking about, the Dead by Daylight and those kind of games? Do you think John enjoyed something like that? It's not necessarily mystery, but it is more like team working against overpowered foe, right?
No, because John doesn't play games with his friends. He plays games by himself. So
that's true. Damn, never mind. You would have to play with other people. That sucks. Damn,
that's
good
true.
point.
You know, I said it before. I can promise you, for those that are listening, I'm going to be the ones that says stupid things like time is a thief, because it really is. And you know, the older we get, the less time we have to do things. And you all know how busy I am during the day with my full schedule.
Yes.
I'm done.
I'm good. That's sarcasm. That's sarcasm to
the. I'm on an employment sabbatical. We're gonna call that.
Yeah, there you go. You know what it is. You're adventuring into your entrepreneurial journey. That's what you're doing. Okay, how about that?
That is true. Yes, I'm
There it
in
is.
my stay-at-home dad era. I have 2 young daughters. I'm in my stay-at-home dad era. So that's
Yep.
where I'm at.
That's good, and you're doing something
Yeah.
with it that also makes you happy. So like, I don't. Nobody should be able to knock that.
Yes,
Do you
yes.
have any
I am
others?
I'm not sitting on my ass every day, eating potato chips on the couch, watching YouTube and doing nothing. No disrespect to anybody that does that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty great, actually.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
I
But,
should be watching my
we're not
carbs, but
doing
chips are chips. You know what I mean?
like
Yeah.
chips. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Um,
I did Square, and forgive me, Square. Is it pronounced Square Onyx, or do you pronounce the E like Enix?
I say
or-
Enix. Square Enix is what I say,
Next, yeah.
and I
Square
know some
Enix,
people
the-
say
the-
Enix, so it is what it is.
Okay, so the YouTube comments, just any social media comment section, I always this is where you'll get your golden entertainment, is any kind of comment section, because that's where the entertainment is to be found. But the people that are not, I guess, looking forward to this game, somebody had said that Disney's getting ready to send Mickey Mouse himself to square up Square Onyx if they don't shape up. That one got me pretty good.
I like
Oh.
how we just said it's pronounced Enix and you called it Onyx.
Is it?
So
I will probably always
That's
do
an
it.
example of his fine teamwork that he'll need to play those games. Andy.
Yeah, that's true. I heard what you said. I didn't listen to it.
All right, I'm gonna do this. So to button that up, to put a bow on it, Killer Inn looks pretty good. That looks like something that I think that I could get entertainment out of.
Okay. Do you
That
have
looks
any other games to add to your anticipated list?
Except for the one, of course.
Yeah.
The best one of the entire presentation.
Honestly, I think all of the things, I think you could probably get away with that. Yeah. I think that's a
Yep. Of course, we are talking about Resident Evil Requiem.
Mhm.
Obviously, I grew up. I'm big into the Raccoon City series. Your Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, Resident Evil 0. I enjoyed 4. I played it once. 5, I always have a soft spot for 5. You and I played that. We beat the dog shit out of that game.
we did.
Always have a soft spot for 5. And then after that is where it kind of went downhill. I think we played 6 for like 2 hours,
Yep.
I think.
Mhm.
And
6
then,
wasn't good.
and then we jumped off that ship. And I
It's
don't
long.
think I've played anything as far as series goes. I don't think anything after that. But of course, remembering back to some of your spin-off games, your Operation Raccoon City, loved that one. And then of course, the goats. What?
You loved that one?
He's surprised you loved it. That's what he's getting at.
It was a good one.
That
You
game
talking
was
about
trash.
Operation Raccoon City?
Yeah, that game was trash.
Allegedly, it was trash. From the people who get paid to critic these, they said it was trash. But for anybody with a heart,
Nah, I don't know if that's true.
You know why they said it was trash?
Let me
Because
guess.
it was trash.
There it is. That's usually how it works. That's usually how it works.
You like that, John? Andy just boxed you in with that logic.
he got me. But of course, some of the goated PS2 games are the Outbreak series, criminally underrated.
Yep.
Resident Evil Outbreak, Outbreak File 2, absolutely criminally underrated. They were before their time.
Mhm.
Those games are screaming for this day and age. A multiplayer Resident Evil scenario type game. That is 2025. That's screaming for a
Yep.
Resident Evil game like that today. They were so ahead of its time, and I hope that somebody at Capcom, somebody there, just has an idea of something to kind of bring that into there. And I think what Resident Evil Requiem does is it gives those people hope that Outbreak hasn't been forgotten about, and the fact that Requiem does give the Ashcroft into there, it does bring some canon. It officially brings Outbreak into canon, so that does breathe life into the Outbreak games.
Right. And I think you were mentioning also that they did, there was an article or something that you could find or pick up in one of the games that was from Ashcroft. I can't remember her first name. I know Grace is the new character in the Requiem, but what was her mother's name?
Alyssa. Alyssa was the mom.
Got you. Yeah. So like you find an article from Alyssa in one of the other games as one of the characters, which is really, really cool too. So giving this more fleshing out that Outbreak series that I think you are dead on with being today's day and age, it screams like, hey, this is big for the content creation of like the content that could be created around it, the collaboration with people, streaming's huge. YouTube is huge. Like that's a perfect game for today's day and age, which I'm hopefully you get your wish there with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It'd be great. The four of us squaring up, and not Dan though, because
yeah, right. Not Dan. Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. He's never played a Resident Evil game. He's if I could jump in here real quick, give you some kind of that I think I'm wondering, surprised Andy didn't mention this one. It's not what I'm looking at or forward to because I'm not big into this universe, is the Scott Pilgrim EX. I'm sure you're looking forward to that game, Andy. I know you probably are. But I have a couple here. Of course, I already mentioned it, From Software, but if there's somebody who has done it just as good, if not slightly short of From Software, it's the developer behind the Lies of P game. And they showcased and shadow dropped their DLC for Lies of P, which has been, that's Lies of P Overture. That is by far one of the best games. I think that was my game of the year in 2023. It was just the best game I had played that year, and it's fantastic. I think this just expands on it. It's a prequel to the other stuff. So, I mean, it continues that story. So that was huge. And also being a shadow drop. Who doesn't love a shadow drop? You know what I mean? Some other ones for me, it seemed like a lot of the announcements, especially from Jeff Keighley's show, a Summer Game Fest, it was like the year of the sequel, like announcements. You had Mortal Shell 2. You had Atomic Heart 2. You had Code Vein 2, and all those announcements came to back to back to back to back. So it was really cool to see these games getting that acknowledgement of, they weren't maybe they weren't massive sellers. Like, Atomic Heart, I played it, dropped straight into Game Pass. I loved that game. A lot of people call that the horny game now because of all the sexy robots and all that kind of stuff that are in it. So that was really cool. But the one I'm really looking forward to, and this kind of keeps up with the creepy vibes, which, by the way, my wife made a wonderful point. That seems to be the aesthetic now. You know how like video games go through a time period of, we're zombie focused. We're vampire focused. You know what I mean? Right now I need to make the creepiest, goriest, deformed looking monsters or creatures in my game and make it as realistic as possible. That's kind of how I felt with this one. It is a game called Ill. It's a story-driven survival horror game. And it says that the game promises intense body horror, grotesque monsters, and relentless fear. That seems to be the nutshell with a lot of these games coming out. But that's one of the few trailers I watched, and I was like, that looks too good to be true, right? It's probably not going to be the case just given where Unreal 5 is anymore, but my God, was that fantastic. And a little bit, two other ones that I have here, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. That's going to be the beat 'em up by the people, I think, Dotemu, I think is who actually is developing that. And they did the latest Shredder's Revenge, I think is what it's called. That beat 'em up style of that old school side scrolling beat 'em up. I love those fucking games. And the cast in this game is really good. You've got Venom, you've got She-Hulk, you've got Rocket Raccoon, you've got Captain America, Storm is in there, Wolverine, Nova, Spider-Man. I mean, that's a pretty stacked list for a game. And they said there's going to be more, right? So that's going to be huge as well. So I'm a huge fan of those.
I'm sold at the X-Men there, and anything involving, when you pull the X-Men into those games.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they're not often involved enough in a lot of those Marvel projects lately.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a huge X-Men fan. You bring them in.
Well, yeah, that's part of it too, is now with the, even with the MCU, right? You're starting to get a taste of the the X-Men are starting to leak in a little bit because of the Fox 20th Century Fox on purchase. So it was done a number of years ago. And last but not least for me is going to be Dying Light, the Beast. It's one of my favorite series. I love Dying Light. You're going to be getting back into, I think Kyle Crane, I think is who you're going to be in this one. So bringing back the character from the first one. But things are going to be a little bit different. I guess you've got some beast powers and things that you're going to be able to activate and things like that. But that game always adds a taste of the parkour, the zombie survival, crafting, finding your weapons. There's loot involved. So I'm huge. That game's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that one too. If I'm specifically talking though, if we move on from Summer Game Fest, specifically was where I was going from. There wasn't anything that really spoke to me for the state of play. I don't know if you guys caught that. These all happened around the same time, which is why I mentioned it as well. But the state of play, I mean, you did get an awesome Marvel fighting game, which puts a nail in the coffin for any Marvel versus Capcom game ever coming out again, because Arc System Works. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the games that they make, but you're looking at like Guilty Gear. They also did the new Dragon Ball Fighter Z. That game is out, and that's something that they did too. So this is a tag fighting game. It's a 4v4 fighting game. It looks awesome. They've kind of give that Japanese almost Gundam type feel to it. They have a lot of futuristic new vibes for a lot of those classic characters. So they change up the way they look, which is cool. And then you had some huge hits. Capcom's Pragmata showed up, which nobody expected. Everybody thought that game was gone, right? Hasn't been talked about for about a year. And then last but not least for me was Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I think those are fantastic, man. I think when they do that with the old games, I think that's huge, especially reintroducing some of these games where you couldn't get them on modern hardware. I think most of these you could, but I think Mortal Kombat 4 was like stuck on a specific console, so you couldn't get it anywhere. So that's huge. I think just seeing a lot of these classic games come for a new audience is huge. Do you guys have anything out of like the Xbox showcase? Anything out of that you guys remember? If not, that's okay. We can move on because, like I said, there was a lot to catch up to.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Sure.
Specifically from the state of play before the Xbox. I wanted to talk about Romeo is a Dead Man. That's from Grasshopper, made by Suda51. He did Lollipop Chainsaw, Shadows of the Damned.
Very distinct art for that.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
It's got. I love all of his games because they've got a really good sense of humor, but they're also really fun. Like most of them are like violent, shoot 'em up or whatever.
There's a lot of action
games.
going on. Yeah.
A lot of action. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one. Just I love all of his games. And then I got to mention Silent Hill F, just because I don't know what I watched, but it was totally messed up. And I don't know what to think about that.
So true.
I want to see more on that. From the Xbox, got a couple. Clockwork Revolution is starting to look really good. I love the steampunk. The gameplay is looking really fun. The talking doll thing got me. I'm like, what even is the point of this? It's like comic relief. So I'm starting to look forward to that one. Tony Hawk 3 and 4. So excited for this. Tony Hawk 3, one of my top 10 games of all time. It's the best Tony Hawk game. I don't care what anybody else says. And so I'm really looking forward to that one. I'll be playing that anytime I can once that comes out. And then I gotta give a mention to Keeper. That's from Double Fine. Double Fine does nothing but make fantastic games. Love all their games. Broken Age, Psychonauts 2, all those games. Brutal Legend. This one looks different. You're playing as a lighthouse, which is interesting. But since it's Double Fine, I'm sure it's fantastic, and I'm definitely going to give it a play when it comes out as well.
100%. Yeah, no, the Keeper one for me was almost like I remember raising my eyebrows like, oh, this is the game they're making, right? Because you go from Psychonauts, you had some comedy, it's a platformer, right? You're thinking, oh, okay, maybe that's the direction they're going to go in because that's what they're good at. and then they just kind of flip it on its head. But you know it's going to be quality stuff. I mean, it's Tim Schafer, right? You know what I mean? So I mean, he's going to do what he does best, and that's going to be a good story-driven game there for sure. Dan, do you have anything from the Xbox showcase? Maybe something you found that you were looking forward to?
No, I mean nothing super specific. I think Andy reminded me of the Tony Hawk, like that.
Yeah, dude. Straight into Game Pass too.
Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. I think 3 might be the best, my favorite. Like I was telling him, I remember the original one you could get Spider-Man and you could use the Spidey grind on a half. There's a certain half pipe grind round. You could just let it go back and forth. It's 60 bajillion points and whatnot, but so looking forward to that again.
I do want to say though, they're going to introduce a better guest character this game though, so I just want to point that out. And if you don't know what it is, it's Michelangelo, Ninja Turtles coming in instead of Spider-Man. So I'm just saying that's already better for me. You know what I mean?
I'll be curious.
Come on,
Dan.
They had a bunch in 3. They had Wolverine.
Yeah, they ended up with.
I don't know if that's going to work. I hope they're in there, but I don't think they will be just because of licensing,
they can
right?
be different people.
Yeah. Well, they also have the Doomslayer in there too.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, right.
They need to get Master Chief in there.
That would be sick. That'd be really, really cool.
But yeah, otherwise, I mean, nothing like like I said, groundbreaking for me. The kind of the stuff that would have caught me, like, whoa, like I think realistically, like we all said, is probably still a year or 2 off, right? And oh, I mean, they had gone fishing for Fallout 76. Who's not psyched about that?
Yeah, I mean, come on, some fishing, dude. Yeah,
fishing. Who does not want to fish?
Get some 3-eyed fish.
But I mean, overall, there's lots coming out, and there's lots to look forward to. I think just in general. But.
Speaking of the Xbox showcase, did you guys happen to see the game from Beast of Reincarnation from a studio that makes Pokemon games? Did you see this?
Yeah.
Game Freak. It's Game Freak. Game Freak is making.
I sure hope it's better than their Pokemon games because the last few have been.
Well, this is the thing is they took everything that we said about the last couple Pokemon games. They're like, why do they look like shit? Why can't you make things look pretty? Why doesn't it look like Pal World? And then they're like, you know what? Shut the hell up because we can make pretty shit. Look at this. And then they're like, it's not a Pokemon game.
It's not on Switch.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. We can make quality stuff. Look at it. It's fantastic. It's not just a different coat of paint. So if you get a chance, check out Beast of Reincarnation. You'll think this is the team that makes Pokemon. They can't make games that look like this. And they tell you and put up a big middle finger and say, we sure as hell can. I mean, you get the classic ones, the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 reveals, right? I mean, that was kind of a lackluster way for you to end a show for a yearly title, which isn't kind of the way to do it for me. That's the way I look at it. John, any last notes on some of the different showcases or anything sticking out for you?
I just got two. I got a game and then I got a question to pose.
Yeesh.
So there are no ghosts at the Grand.
Yeah,
that's another one that's we went fishing, we reeled me in. That looks a spooky, cozy musical mystery involving renovation. Okay, so you go through this and you get to renovate this hotel as you go through and solve this mystery. This is my bread and butter. So that's something that's caught my eye. I don't hold a lot of weight with those games, the Killer Inn game, this No Ghost at the Grand. I'm very skeptical. The older I get, the more skeptical I get. I think it just comes with age. I think a lot of times these games that just look really good, more often than not, end up disappointing me, and that's probably just me. Not a on anybody else. That's probably just me having just a very narrow.
Was that a stroke?
Yeah, are you all right? John, does this smell like burnt toast? Do you hear ringing? Like what?
Remove real quick. We had to.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very narrow what I like and what I don't like.
Vocabulary or what? What are you doing? What is happening with you?
I do like these out of left field the games for you because knowing you for as long as I have, you're very niche. Like, hey, this is my lane. I'm staying in it. It's kind of what I've been doing for a long time. So
From,
the interest in some of these is really, really cool.
Sounds like you're really looking forward to some hotel games, is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
If you want my business, make a hotel game.
Make sure I can either solve a mystery, a puzzle, or I can renovate it.
Give me those tools. So that's my game. That looks something that I would be willing to try. My question to pose then, Call of Duty 7, they're ending there. I think the last time I picked up a Call of Duty game was, or the last time I played a Call of Duty game for any worthwhile amount of time was probably Black Ops 2. And so I'm probably wrong in saying in my assessment, but has it lost its steam, or no? Is it as fine as it's ever been? You know, we're getting up to Black Ops 7. They still do the different publisher every year, right? So like this one does this.
Not this year. This last year was, well, yeah, last November was Black Ops 6. So they didn't skip. Yeah, they didn't. That's maybe what the reveal was supposed to be. Like, oh, you loved this? Check out this. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's what it was.
Okay.
But as far as losing steam, in my opinion, do you mean overall as a Call of Duty as a whole, or do you mean?
I don't know.
Because my opinion, Call of Duty as a whole, I don't think is ever going to go away. When you have a subgenre of gamers who are just like Call of Duty people, right? I got a system. Why'd you get a system? I play Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Okay.
It's in the fabric.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, like as a phrase, is like in vernacular. So it's too big to fail.
Yeah, 100%.
In that regards, yeah, you're right. It's not going to go away because it's been around. It's an institution now.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's not what it used to be.
Good
old days.
I'm not gonna let you do that. Nope. I'm not gonna let you be the Homer of this. I'm not gonna let you do. Back in my day, and you're nostalgic about the time, not necessarily the game. Because if you go back and play those games, you're like, holy shit, I can't sprint very fast. You know what I mean? I can barely jump, right? So because then in the other games they give you fake ass, suits that you can wear to make you run like that. Don't blame.
Give me a person and an MP40.
Yeah.
Team deathmatch with Jack Bauer. That's what John wants. Did we let John be I think John should be the old guy though. Did you not just see he had like 2 Alzheimer's?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, maybe I should.
Wipes in the middle of speaking.
But I think, to answer your question, in my opinion, maybe the other two can chime in, but I don't feel like Call of Duty is going to go anywhere, especially because Fortnite is its own subgenre of gamers as well. Like I get on, I play, like not me, but I'm saying someone gets on, they play Fortnite. That's all they play. If that didn't kill Call of Duty, I don't know what will, right? I don't think there's going to be anything that takes enough away.
That's fair.
They keep pumping them out. Yeah. There's obviously a pro league that revolves around it. So you have a ton of fandom around that. You have the other inclusion of Warzone, and whatever they do with that battle royale type is always going to be a part of that. So they've got a story, they've got B, they've got Warzone, which is another avenue of playing. And then they have multiplayer by itself, and then zombies for those that really enjoy that. There's still a dedicated group that plays zombies all the time. Right. So you take 4 different avenues to play the game. And I feel like they cost a lot. I guarantee you they cost a lot of money, but they make all that shit back. No problem. Right. I feel like Call of Duty isn't going to go away like Halo did, if that makes sense. Because Halo was it. Halo 2, Halo 1, 2, and 3. It was it until it felt like Call of Duty formed its community in Call of Duty 4. And then even more so with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, it kind of just took off. Even World of War I'd throw in there too is really popular. So yeah, I don't think Call of Duty is going anywhere, at least for the short term. I would say 5 years, you probably don't see any dips. Maybe people get sick of it, but if they're not sick of it now, I don't know what's going to cause them to get sick of the decisions and the gameplay and the balancing issues. Like, you know what I mean? If they're not, I think Call of Duty players are like Star Wars fans. They love to hate the shit that they love, right? That's exactly what they do. And I think that's always going to be the ever revolving door that Call of Duty goes through, in my opinion. But that's a little long-winded for your answer, but that's just me. I don't know.
As long as they have a acceptable single player campaign, I think that will.
You think? I don't
Help.
think you think. I don't think people play that nearly as much as you think.
God, that's the only reason I got them.
Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ! Why'd you buy Call of Duty to play the 7-hour campaign that I spent $60 on, and then I took it back to GameStop?
Yeah, because fuck them kids.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a tagline we probably didn't need episode 1, but
but there you go.
But if we're moving on from kind of the announcements and stuff like that, I do want to bring up an article, and we're all casual. I think some of us a little bit more casual of the wrestling fandom. Formal, yeah. Okay. All right. Formal wrestling fan, I guess, if that's what you want to call yourself. I don't know if you guys remember Dave Bautista, famously known for the
belly button tattoo,
famously known for the belly button tattoo and for the Batista bomb, right?
Which is the bomb in Leprechaun Bomb.
It's all connecting.
Did you get a tramp stamp around your belly button too?
This is a connected universe. No, for the love of God, do not do that. No. I don't want to see your battle scar that I know about.
I'll report us for that.
Yeah.
Yes, self-reported. As a redheaded male here, that is where the leprechaun comes in, and the bomb is, of course, in homage to Batista's finisher move, the Batista bomb. Leprechaun bomb.
There it is. So I'm going to bring up this article. This one's caught me off guard. So here we go. We're going to switch over. So, as you can see here,
actor, producer.
Yeah, I know, right? He's been pretty vocal about not wanting to be known as a wrestler, though, right? Like he's said that many times.
I know.
But as you can see here,
are dried up.
What was his first acting job?
This article from Polygon, written by Isaac Rouse. Dave Bautista is making a game and a cartoon about a cat assassin. Never thought I'd see that headline. Let's see here. Scroll down here. Actor, producer, Dave Bautista, Blade Runner 2049, Guardians of the Galaxy, also WWE Wrestling. Developer of Titan One Studios have announced a major partnership to launch multimedia cat assassin franchise that includes an animated series, publishing efforts, and stealth action video game already in development. Created by Steve Lerner, the mind behind hit games Stray and 12 Minutes. That's actually kind of cool. I did not know that. I didn't read that part, but 12 Minutes was a lot of fun. I had a good time with that game. Cat Assassin is set in a gritty neo-noir city populated by anthropomorphic felines, and the stories of Hugh and skilled assassin navigating a chaotic world, warring cartels and corrupt power players. I don't. Okay, right here. This is the line I wanted to read. The upcoming game draws inspiration from Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell, Sifu, and Stray, aiming to deliver agile combat, tactical gameplay, and narrative depth. Not necessarily something I thought I would see today. So
I'm curious about the line with his creative influence. Like, I guess, what's that based on?
The actor producer that he's been known for. That's what. And his creative work in WWE.
Other people created.
Hey, his creative work in the WWE too. Okay.
Influence is influence.
Yeah, Dan.
John, can I influence you to not talk?
But here we'll head back to this. But what are your guys' thoughts? What are your thoughts on a game being created? John, I'm gonna go to you first since you have the most connection to Mr. Bautista himself.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think? Day one purchase?
We're connected in tattoos.
Connected at the belly button. Is it a day one purchase for you?
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
Okay, no. All right, that's fair.
Drawing inspiration from Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell, Seafood, and Stray. That does have
Seafood.
Seafood.
It does. Okay, that's all right. Interesting, but no.
Yeah,
We're
it
not
doesn't do it
building
for you.
anything in this game.
Maybe
Yeah,
if you
we're
see
not-
it, it'll be like Killer In, and maybe it's a mystery, and you got to solve some shit. But then this cat is also renovating the city, and you got maybe then you'll be locked
Exactly.
in. I got you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
fair.
That city sounds like it's got some stores that might need a proprietor.
Yeah. Yep. So at this stage, no, it's not moving my needle.
That's fair. And I didn't expect it to. I just wanted to see your input since you were, you are the bomb and Leprechaun bomb.
This is where my narrow, we're on the outside.
You don't necessarily give it any weight because of who's attached to it. You're like, I need something to just grab me by the balls and really swing me around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Grab me by the belly button tattoo. And just
Yeah.
really pull me in.
Andy, what do you think? Is it dead on arrival, or do you got to see more first?
I got to see more. I mean,
Yeah.
they're like saying, "Oh, it's influenced by these really big named games," and I'm like, "Okay, that's great. That doesn't mean it's going to be good."
Isn't that
Like-
every video game ever? Like, oh, I get inspiration from
Yeah,
other
this
video
is-
games. You're like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of it.
yeah. So, I'm certainly intrigued, especially with Batista being involved. I still don't understand how he's involved or what the heck he is doing
Right.
in this, but it sounds like it could be interesting. They're really taking a big risk, I think, trying to make this like a franchise before there's even anything out there.
Right. Yeah. Kind of throwing it all out and saying, hey, something's going to stick. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see what the timeline brings with it. Like you said, I'm kind of the same boat you are. Let's see more. Right. You just because you're Dave Bautista and you're also having a developer for somebody who's made a game that I enjoy. Right. Created by somebody that I enjoyed 12 minutes. I didn't play Stray, but heard good things from a lot of people. And he mentioned, they mentioned big names, Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell, Sifu. Like those are all games that should have some kind of weight to them as well. But it's one of those, you got to see more. You can't just say, oh, you got a free pass because of your name. And I don't think he wants that either. I think it's just something for me to be, we'll see what it's all about. You know what I mean? We'll go from there. Outside of that, I mean, that's a pretty cut and dry story for us. I just wanted to bring it up because it's kind of it's a unique one, not something you hear every day, where a wrestler is turned into an actor, turned into a producer, and then turned into somebody who's developing a cat assassin video game. Right. So, I mean, it is what it is.
He's going on a different path than Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. He's separating himself. You know what I mean? Trying to win an Oscar.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Next, Mind's Eye. Do you guys know anything about Mind's Eye?
I've seen the swimming is super good in it.
Okay. Yep. There's quite a bit of controversy around this game. Mind's Eye is a developer. It's from an ex-GTA developer, or actually president. I don't know if it's actually developer, but it is a president. It's a sci-fi. The cutscenes are fantastic. It looks like it's a pretty well-produced game. The problem is the video game part of this game, right? So it launched. It's, I think, sitting on Steam. If maybe I can bring it up here. Hold on, let me see. Mind's Eye, because it was sitting at like a negative, extremely negative, overwhelming, mostly negative, with 37% of its user reviews for this games are positive. So you're looking at a pretty big chunk of people don't like this game. And they basically chalk it up to, let's see here. I'm just going to read the first one. Product refunded from this person. Gucci, not recommended. I have had my Steam account for almost 12 years, and I have never felt compelled to leave a single review until now. This was not ready to be released, especially for the current price. I tried to give it a chance, ended up refunding it. They spent 2.8 hours on the game, which is usually the threshold for when a game can be refunded, I think, on Steam. But it was riddled with bugs and incomplete areas and issues and frame rate drops. Just basically, if you remember Cyberpunk 2077 a couple years ago, right? Number of years ago.
Yeah.
That would be this is 2025's Cyberpunk, right? That's kind of how a lot of people are drawing this up. Not nearly the amount of hype for it, right? That I think there was, because they were pretty quiet and they just showed trailers and didn't do a ton of gameplay stuff. But I wanted to, this is more of a caveat. Mind's eye, it just leads me into a broader topic. Why does does this happen a lot, or is it just that people are finding it now because of how much information is out there? What do you guys think? Is that something that you think this is just is this a bigger problem than it needs to be, or are we blowing these out of proportion because when they're found, they are a big deal? Andy, what do you got?
Oh, I think this one in particular is getting a lot of attention because apparently this developer paid a bunch of YouTubers to play the game on their channels
Okay.
and promote it.
Sponsored streams and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. And in at least one instance, apparently the guy was like loading the game and he got a call or text from somebody at the developer and they were like, deals off, like don't play the game, like right as he was about to play it.
That's wild. That's unheard of.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's kind of why this is becoming a controversy, more so than just the game sucks, because I don't see how they should be able to do that in any sense of the matter. I mean, crappy games are out there, unfinished games. They're always out there. When it's something that looks this good, that the developers like paying YouTubers, it's going to get a lot more attention than some game one guy made on Steam that looks like he made in a month.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
hmm
I tend to agree. I think they're blown out of proportion. Dan, what do you think?
I mean, I'm kind of right there with you. Like, I mean, with any game nowadays, right? Like, good, bad, or otherwise, like, people seem to find out everything about it before, like anybody's actually trying to be like, here's the information. Like Elden Ring, we were talking about Night Rain, right? People have probably already almost figured out exactly what's coming with this update because people dig through game files, dig through whatever. Like, so you're going to before that, like people find out stuff one way or another. They set what they think they know, set this tone, they set this expectation for a game, right? Andy kind of touched on it with the last game. A lot of people just assume this game was going to be great because of the people attached to it. Oh, they used to work with Rockstar. They used to work with... Right. That doesn't mean it's going to be good. Like, it's just they assumed it would be, right? And so I think, like, it is what it is, right? Games come out and they're super hit or miss anymore. Some come out and they do great. Some do terrible. Schedule One, right? That outsold AAA games. It's made by one guy, right? Like, so what determines what people consider to be good, bad, whatever?
Now, honestly, that leads us into even a bigger conversation with the price, with the pricing and everything. And we'll get into pricing because we're going to talk about the Switch too. But like,
but I think the thing with the Twitch people is weird, right? Like, it's kind of, I mean, especially like what Andy talked about. Like, if I sign an agreement, right, like an NDA, a contract, whatever, and then you call me last minute, like deals off, whatever. Like, people depend that, like, for some of those people, like, that's their income, that's their livelihood. Like, and you rip it out of them, like, as they're getting ready. It's like coming to clock in for work for the day, like right after they give you this big bonus and extend you, and then they're like, actually, you know what, you're fired. Like,
actually, go. You know what? Go home. Oh, okay.
So like that's kind of crazy, and that sends a bad signal, right? Like for whatever the reason is. But I also think people are gonna have their opinions about a lot of these things before they ever put their hands on it because of what other people do in terms of digging around. I
agree. I think, like I said, that leads into a bigger conversation we talk about pricing where, these big publishers are like, we're getting to $80 games. We're getting to $70 games. We're getting to that new normal, right? Quote unquote normal. Is GTA going to be $100, right? That's what a lot of people are throwing out there, those kind of things. But I think also there were 19,000 games released on Steam last year. That's a record-breaking year, right, for games. There's 19,000 video games released on Steam last year. That's crazy, right? Like Andy said, most of those games, nobody's going to hear about, right? Nobody's going to be like, oh my God, you're going to hear about maybe 150 at the most that general public will be aware of, right? And I say casual is somebody who has a Steam account who gets on it every day. That's a casual person, in my opinion. Not somebody who pays for like, oh, I need to do the news and I need to do this kind of stuff and I need to do that stuff. So I think the weirdest part is they're almost getting this bad. You can have a bad video game. Bad games can be released. Games can be fixed. Games can be changed. Cyberpunk was a huge turnaround, right? That game was I didn't have any problems. I played on console. I didn't have near the problems that everybody else did, but that wasn't everybody's experience. They kept with it. They pushed out a game that was actually worth it and developed the way that it should have been released. That's probably going to be the case here unless they scrap it because somebody higher up says, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. I'm not going to waste any more money because we don't believe in it now. John, do you think this is a wider issue or do you think it's pretty small?
How much does this game cost?
$60.
What is the price point on this game? It is a $60 game.
Yep.
So as a YouTuber in its infancy, I'm not running the place yet. I don't have thousands and thousands of subscribers. I depend on trusting these reviews and trusting some of these videos that I would watch of a game before I would want to purchase it myself. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting the games that I play on YouTube. I certainly didn't get them for free. I wasn't given dev codes and things like that, and given copies of these games to try for free because, again, YouTuber in infancy, have not gotten that far. So I am paying for the games that I play. So I'm trusting these videos that I watch.
Right.
And so I'm appreciative that yes, they're weird and it's controversial and all that, but to see some of these streamers sort of be put to a breaking point on that to go, you know what, like we have to call bullcrap.
Right.
Because obviously they don't know me from Adam, but if they're going to sit there and read a script and say, wow, this game was amazing, you can buy it for $59.99 at the Steam store, there you go. And then I go and I spend my hard-earned $59.99, and this game is dog shit. Then
I agree.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be upset at that streamer who marketed that game to me.
Right.
So it's there's a lot of layers to that onion. But I think like Andy said, there's a lot of crappy games out there. It's got the term, it's shovelware. It's out there. That being said, in this the state of money that we're all in now, people have to be more thoughtful about the money that they spend. And so I feel like there's responsibility on everybody's behalf. And I also know that that's not the world that we live in. It's a cash grab. So somebody, you're going to find that how many thousands of 19,000 games on Steam or whatever. If you go and search the word, when I'm looking for a new simulator type game and I search the word simulator to see, okay, what's coming up, there are some doo-doo simulators out there. Absolute garbage games out there. And they're cash grabs. That's all they are. They're
right.
Unfinished cash grabs. And so you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I'm encouraged by streamers and people being sponsored, sort of having the scruples, having the balls to call out the stink.
Right. I have done, probably can count on one hand how many sponsored things I've done. Right. Even if it was maybe games I had.
Your Twitch, didn't you did there was a game you did.
Yeah, well, that was for the meme, and that was Raid Shadow Legends, right?
Raid Shadow,
and
Legends.
That's not necessarily, that was more of a campaign that I had signed up for, just to get money from people just helping me out, which was fantastic. But like, I've actually been sent copies of like smaller indie games, nothing near, like the scale of a AAA $60 game, right? It's been more like somebody reached out, hey, I really liked what I saw on Twitter. Thinking about playing this. Is there anything you can do for me? Or even somebody coming into a chat room that I was, when I was streaming, and say, hey, I really think you'd like this. Can I message you on blah, 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 or whatever, right? Sometimes there's only been one that I've actually had to deal with a publisher. I don't remember the game. I ended up not caring for the game. But during like you get like a kit, right? A press kit or whatever, or kind of like talking points, but never like this game is great. I loved it. You should go spend your hard-earned money. I've never had that. Granted, not anywhere near the level a lot of these people are. But you're right. And I love that you touched on the trust, right? You're hoping that person you're watching their video, they have the wherewithal to be like, look, I don't enjoy this game. I'm also don't feel comfortable saying that I think it's amazing and that other people should buy it because I didn't like it. Right. I love people that can actually separate the two and have that. I'm not doing this because I'm not putting my name behind it. So that's huge there. Mind's Eye. Hopefully it turns around. That's all I can say. I'm one of those people also who I don't go out of my way to leave negative reviews. If I like something, I like something. If I don't like it, there's probably a reason I don't like it. But I can probably find stuff to like, right? I'm sure I would play Mind's Eye and love the cinematic stuff. Like I guarantee you I would be like, oh, that's there's a bright spot in this game. But the problem is I have to play the game, shoot people, drive to the location to get the next cutscene, right? I can't just load in the video and be like, I'm good. Thanks. This is great. So you can tell they're well crafted, which is really cool. So hopefully the game turns around. They turn it into something of what their actual vision was for it. And it can, become like a redemption story, just like Cyberpunk was as well. Andy,
I love
go ahead.
the review that you read at the beginning of that segment there with on Steam, the 12 years, after 12 years, I've literally never done this before, but this game has taken me to this point where for the first time in 12 years, this is my first time coming out of the manhole to say how awful this is. I mean, when you lead off with that, like, oof.
Yeah,
you done it.
It says, and when they say that, it actually puts how many reviews they have and how many products they have on their account. This person has 245 products in their account and one review. So they weren't kidding when they said this, right? So you can get the proof right there too. Moving on,
I
Andy.
think it's a fake account. That's a fake account.
They bought 245 50-cent games, and we're like, I'm gonna leave a review.
They were probably gifted them. Maybe they were gifted those games.
Yep. Andy, you mentioned Silent Hill F before.
Yep.
It was recently announced that Silent Hill 1 is getting a remake by the same team that did the Silent Hill 2 remake, and that's going to be the Blooper team, which is obviously pretty good at what they do. Any kind of excitement for that game coming out or anything like that? I don't know if you're a big Silent Hill from the past. I know F is going to be a new new entry into that series, but is that kind of tickle your fancy at all?
Yeah, definitely interested. I don't understand why they did 2 and now they're doing 1. Doesn't make any sense to me.
I
But
I agree.
maybe it was better received. I mean, 1 through 4 were all really good.
Yeah.
I don't even
Wasn't
know if
2 like arguably 2 is like King of the Castle?
I think if
am I wrong in that?
If I put this in terms that we would understand, John, if people were like, hey, just like RE2, right? Probably considered the best one. Even the remake, I think the RE2 remake is the best Resident Evil.
100%.
I think that's what they did. It was like, hey, we're going to remake Resident Evil 2 before we make Resident Evil 1, right? That's what it was. That's kind of what my takeaway is for it.
And with the success of it, they're like, all right, now we'll go back and do 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I think that is correct.
Okay. But yeah, it's not like something I'll get right away. I still don't even have the Silent Hill 2 remake, though I've heard it's amazing. So I'll definitely get it and play it Sunday. The same thing with this first one.
Yeah, I know time is one of the things that keeps a lot of us from getting to the stuff that we want to get to. So I completely understand that. I mean, you said it best, Andy. When you retire, that's what you're doing. I got all these games. So well, guess what? When I retire, I have them. They're mine.
My wife's never going to see me.
Yep. Sorry. This is where I'm at. You see this chair? This is it. Let's see here.
Physical game collecting, preserve it. Keep it.
I mean, physical, forever physical, right? That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Next, let's talk about a big one here, big topic. I think we can all kind of just give our take on it. I mean, we're not the first ones to do it. We're definitely not going to be the last ones, but let's talk about the Switch 2. Switch 2, every initial thoughts, hype level going into the launch. Dan, did you have any? I know you don't own a Switch. You probably haven't, but I just want to see, it's a new console release, new generation for a big company. Is there any hype level that you had for this game or this system?
No. I mean, the big thing for me is I feel like it seemed like it was practically overnight from when they like talked about it till like people, the whole conversation was about the cost and the shipping and all the crap that was going on with the
economy. Tariffs and
the tariffs.
But
yeah,
I mean,
this all happened at the great time.
I've always wanted like a Switch, right? Like it's just one of those things where like, if I ever came across an opportunity where I had the money, like I'm not going on my way to get it, but like I wouldn't be upset about having one. I will say I'm not a big fan of the staples in the glass. That's a weird option to include all the staples in the screens. It's kind of an odd design joint.
Yeah, that's a different one. Yeah, I've never seen that before.
I mean, was it a GameStop or was it a Best Buy?
Yeah, they were stapling the receipts to the top of the boxes.
What store was doing it? I forget what the article said. It was a video game store.
It's to their credit, and I'm not gonna blame the video game store for this because Nintendo boxed it like a bunch of fucking jackasses, right? You open the first flap, right, of the cardboard. You open it, the screen is right there. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? What are we doing?
They had to cut costs.
Well, they put staples in the screen first. Don't you side with Nintendo on this, you piece of shit.
Yeah, what are you? You're just a corporate sympathizer, dude. What are you going on?
This is what I will say. A company I used to work for that would manufacture some toilets, Elby's. They are the cheapest model toilet, would ship in a box with like no protection in it. And wouldn't you know it, these toilets were received by the purchasers and they were damaged. They were destroyed. They got damaged in shipment. Well, fucking duh, there's no protection in these boxes. Well, if we you guys should put some more styrofoam in these, beef the protection up. Well, if we do that, then the cost is going to go up. It's all about the dollars and cents.
No, you're not wrong. Like, that's the thing, right? Even something minor like styrofoam, which really, let's be honest, is not a super impactful cost to the business, right? Even if you spread it out over everything. But businesses have the ability, like things that are designed where they literally, every penny extra is just passed on to the customer. Right. But I think what Jordan said, it doesn't even require extra packaging. Just position it differently in the box. Like,
I'm not asking for foam. I'm saying put the manuals and shit on top, maybe. Right. And then put the other stuff below.
I got a DS Lite in a box right here. You know what came out when I pulled it out? A piece of foam and the manuals on top of it. Not like they were like,
see, they know what they're doing. They've done it in the past.
But no, I would say the only thing for me is with the Switch. Like, honestly, the problem for me is the only thing I look at it and like, I'd play Pokemon games because like the rest of the stuff that like you talk about on there, I have it for PC or for Xbox and it runs better. You get better, usually a better performing version of it.
For sure.
To be frank.
I feel that. No, yeah. Andy, what do you think? Hype level for you? Do you have any coming into it?
I mean, yeah, I'm always excited for a new system. It wasn't like the same level as the first Switch was, or the Xbox Series or PS5 even. But I was excited for it, and they waited until the last minute to say, "Oh, by the way, it's going to be $500," and that's what I spent for my Series X, and I'm getting this system that's bigger Switch that has the power of a PS4.
Right.
So I was just like, I don't, if it was $450 for the bundle, 400 probably would have gone and done it, gotten one. But at that price, and with the small amount of games, which I feel like every launch there's barely any launch day titles, for anything. I was like, I'm just gonna wait. I'll get one eventually.
Yeah.
When they have more titles. Donkey Kong looks amazing.
Yeah,
so sometime after Donkey Kong looks out, comes out.
Looks really good.
I definitely had some hype, but not enough to get me to be like, "Ooh, I need one of those right away."
Right. What about you, John?
Now,
Sorry. What
now,
about you, Leprechaun Bomb?
Andy, 10 years ago, you probably would have bought this day one, right?
Possibly, but I mean, $500 is even more 10 years ago, so I don't know.
True. That's
If
true.
it was
That's
still
true.
$500,
We're showing the maturity in our age to realize, like, you know what, the lack of the launch titles, you're putting some factors in there to go, like, you know what, do I want one? Yeah, I do. But, like, do I want one right now? Nah, I don't. I don't need it right now.
mhm.
I got a Switch very late into the life cycle of the Switch. I think
Right.
we got ours. Oh, we got ours for the girls in 2022
Okay.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So we've only had it for going on. I mean, this Christmas will be, I think, 3 years that we've had the Switch, and I never wanted one. I was like, yeah, it's not my thing, not my deal. I never had a Wii. I didn't have a Wii U, so like I got out of Nintendo after we had the original Nintendo, we had a Super Nintendo. I was familiar with a 64, but that's about when I got out of Nintendo. I didn't have a GameCube, no Wii U. So and then by the time now Switch comes out, now I'm, full-fledged adult, and I had other things that I was playing, very much Team Xbox, and I sort of had that mindset of like, I don't want a PlayStation, I don't want Nintendo or anything like that. So I just never did. Children changes that. It's funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And Nintendo being very children friendly with a lot of their games really opened that avenue and brought that back. And I think that's where Nintendo's like, come home, come on home.
Yeah.
We
You
got
got to
you.
start them somewhere. Why
Um,
not start them with where they should start? You know what I mean? At that point.
Right. Yep, with the offerings that they have. So we did get it, but it was very late, into the cycle. Now, my wife doesn't know that or care about that. My kids don't know or care about that. So now here we are 3 years of having our Switch, and it's like, oh, hey, babe, by the way, now there's a new Nintendo Switch, and it's $450. So we got to get a new one, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
Hard no.
Right.
Not going to happen yet. We, to us video gamers, we understand the life cycles of these systems, and then the new system comes out and you gotta get the new system. But like, to somebody who's not a video gamer, such as my wife, like the idea of like, why do we need a Nintendo Switch 2? We have Nintendo Switch 1 at home. It's
Yeah.
that is that meme brought to life. We don't need this, we have it at home. So I guess what I'm getting at is, it's intriguing, but it'll probably be quite a while before we would pull that trigger on that. I like the idea of, like, you guys briefly just touched on the Donkey Kong. That
Mhm.
looks really good. I think what would ultimately, like, what would really bring me in would be if they just would delve back into a country series, Donkey Kong Country. Cash in on nostalgia. You got all these remastered remakes. Why can't Nintendo maybe jump on that bandwagon and do like Donkey Kong 1 remastered, or Donkey Kong Country 1 remastered, or something like that? Donkey
Right.
Kong Country, Diddy's Conquest, remastered. I think
That's what they have. That's what they have the digital, Switch Online for. Pretty sure all
but
those games are on there.
it's like just a port of that. I mean, it's the Super Nintendo version. It's just polished a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm talking like a full-fledged remastered
I know
version
what you're
of it.
talking about. Nintendo just doesn't give a shit what you think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That is Nintendo's not going to do what Nintendo doesn't want to do.
Well, they did make Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
Yeah, they have modernized.
They've dipped their toes into it, but they're like,
They're doing that for all their Wii U games to get that whole millions of people that didn't get a Wii U to play these Wii U games. They realized that they could, make these games better and resell them and make a bunch more money.
Yeah. 100%.
But beyond Wii U, they haven't really done anything like that. And that's not really something that Nintendo does except for Anniversary. anniversaries. Like you have your Mario
Right.
anniversary, your 3D All Stars, and the
Well,
Kirby one.
when we started all of our, like, when we started collecting video games, as like kind of in the same way, Andy, you've been doing it for, a long time, like kind of every game you bought, it was like added to your collection. Well, once I started going back and like, adult money, going to back and buying some of the games that you had, and you're like, I'm going to keep these, right? The conversation that we had many times was Nintendo knows how to keep their value, even of like old stuff somehow. Like they just somehow they keep it, and that's by not remastering it, right? A lot of those items and those they're high dollar values for like a lot of those Nintendo products. GameCube games keep going up. I think Wii U games are at like an all-time low, right? Because they are, like you said, porting them to the Switch, which is a better selling console. So yeah, you're right, but I wish Nintendo had a better approach. And they kind of do with their online, right? With the Nintendo 64 online, the Super Nintendo online, the NES online, and that catalog of library of games. But I don't know. It would be cool to see them dip their toes into the classics a little bit and bring it to a modern hardware, remastered, reimaged, whatever. But it would be cool to see that. But that's not going to happen. Nintendo doesn't do that. They're too busy doing their other stuff.
For Dan, real quick, I actually have my Switch laying right over here, and you mentioned, you don't have kids, anything like that,
I'm
you're
pretty sure I never brought that up at all, John.
You didn't say that. You're just rubbing it in.
Yeah.
I forget the exact statement that
you didn't say one word of it.
Games. There isn't really a library of games on the Switch that sort of gets Dan going.
I would basically only play Pokemon.
Pokemon.
I just wanted to run through what you're missing out on, a little bit. We've got
I can't see anything.
It's too bright. I know you can't see it, but you got Bluey the video game. You got Cocomelon Play with JJ, Ryan's Rescue Squad.
Those
are really good with my no kids. If I walk around and talk to them about Bluey,
that won't look good. Hey kids, look at my Switch games.
I like Cocomelon too, guys. I want to hang out sometime. Like that's great to do.
Ryan's Racing online.
Dan, we also got the big one, Oregon Trail. I know you'd love that one.
Nope. Andy died of dysentery too many times. I've got traumatic.
Yeah, PTSD from the card game that we played.
I died right outside. John.
Just to kind of wrap it up with my whole hype level for the game. My situation's a little bit different than the two of you. Well, I guess everybody really, because my wife does enjoy the video games. She does understand.
Kids who love you.
So like, not bragging, Dan, making a pure observation. I'm setting the scene. So somebody who understands it, right, is ingrained just as much as I am.
He's an industry plug.
But even for us, I'll be honest, the hype level wasn't there, right? It normally is. We'll get the new thing. We like the new thing to have it and be like, oh, let's test it out. I think I feel like if the launch titles were A, more of them, and B, better, it probably would have gotten me to do it, right? Donkey Kong was day one, probably going to get it day one, because honestly, that one looked the best. Mario Kart World wasn't necessarily doing it for me. It's cool. They're going open world to an extent, but like Mario Kart doesn't do it for me like it used to with some of their games, like Double Dash, and those things were all fantastic, and I love Double Dash. It's probably my favorite one. But I think the lack of games, there's only 2 launch games. It's Mario Kart Worlds and the demo, what the Switch can do, and it's $10. That's not going to do it for anybody. They had a lot of old games repackaged, and maybe like we're going to charge you $10 to get the upgraded version, right? Or whatever it was going to be. So like the launch felt weird. It felt unnecessary. It felt like you could probably wait until the fall and probably have a better launch lineup, right? You could probably have like, hey, we'll have Donkey Kong, we'll have Mario Kart, we'll have all these other ones that are going to come eventually. But, it was just a weird thing. And they're doing all sorts of stuff that Nintendo can apparently get away with. They sold 3 million copies or whatever, Switches. And I don't know, the first, what? I don't remember what the timeline was, but since it's released, it's
6
sold.
days or something.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of consoles in 6 days or whatever it was. Right.
So my thought about that is that these are all the people that pre-order it. These are all the people that wanted one right away.
Right.
After this is over, I think that's going to go down a lot. Then you got your people who are like, I'll get one when there's a game I like, or I'll get one when I have the money.
I got you.
So
I'll wait for a sale. I'll wait for a sale.
Yeah.
I'll wait for Black Friday, or I'll do whatever. Yeah.
A better bundle.
Right.
A cheaper bundle.
Right.
That's my take. That I kind of expected it to sell really well. I mean, obviously, a ton of people are going to get it, but I think that's really going to eventually, before too long, dip and possibly
I agree.
dip.
It's not going to go. It's not going to go as fast as the original Switch did. There's no way, and that's the greatest selling console of all time. So, like, obviously, that's a high bar to meet. I think another weird thing was there was just a lot of points that didn't help. Right, bricking the consoles. Right, when you read the terms of service, and I think that's pretty much in most terms of service. Right, I think there's always those things, but people who read them and actually broadcast it out there, that's going to be a smaller amount. But sorry, excuse me. The cartridges being key cards, like keys to games, was also threw me off a little bit too. If you don't know what I mean, it's when the Nintendo Switch cartridge would unlock a key for you to digitally download the game. So you still have the box, you still have the cartridge, but like the data isn't physically on that key card or that cartridge anymore. So some games had to personally come out and say, no, all of our stuff is on that cartridge. I think Cyberpunk was one of them. I think all their first party games are the same way. But just a weird approach,
those
right?
Digital, the key card ones. After you put it in, you punch a code in, you download the game.
Yeah.
Do you still have to have the cartridge in then to play it in the future, or is that cartridge now garbage?
No, you have to put it in to play it.
Yep. You still have to have the key in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Xbox and PlayStation does, where you're downloading or quote unquote ripping the game to your system, but you can't play it if you've downloaded you put in a disc, you download your game, do all that kind of stuff, take the disc out and then try to launch it again. Doesn't work, right? Gotcha. It's the same concept. They
still want you to put the disc in.
These key cards though can be reused. So if you have more than one console, you can use it in both.
So it's kind of like
trade it in, sell it.
So just like a disc, you could leave it installed on your Xbox. You get rid of the disc, you can no longer play the game. So you'd have to then, It's the same way. So they can be used, which is cool, but also it's just a weird concept, right? And I guess it's the exact same for somebody who was still. I mean, even games today, you put in an Xbox game, it's technically a digital download, right? The license is just there on the what do you call it? The disc, right? So, just a lot of different points, a lot of things working against me getting it day one. So, will we get one eventually? Again, probably in the same boat. We'll see. Eventually, yes. Obviously, I think we will. Moving on from there to a topic for I think Daniel and I, because we're the only two that have played it. We're gonna do quick. I want to give just quick thoughts. Dan, go ahead. I want to know, what do you think? Elden Ring, Night Rain. You've kind of dipped your toes into this. You dipped your toes into Elden Ring by itself. You're not very happy because of the couple nights that we've had playing the game. But
we dipped our toes back into Elden Ring together.
Yeah,
I think 15 minutes we both said fuck this game and quit.
Yeah.
What
do you think?
So Night Rain's interesting, right? Like it's all the normal difficulty of a soul, those games, right? Like but you have now the added pressure because there's not enough pressure in those games,
right? Yeah.
But now you also have the pressure of there's a circle, just like a PUBG or a Fortnite, it's going to close, and so also you got to kill that stuff and can't customize the character to an extent, right? Like you can't tweak a build. You're dependent on drops, and so it's like
RNG.
It's Elden Ring. They're forcing you to do it fast.
Yep.
Which I think is good and bad. Like it's good and bad, right? It's probably bad to maybe some players who like go in with a specific.
Can you, hey Dan, real quick? Can you move your mic closer to your face? You're just cutting out a little bit. That's all. Thank you.
Yep. Who like to be able to build things, like in a specific manner, right? Like I want to have this kind of character, this kind of play style. They give you some options, but again, it's a little more left up to chance. I think there's a couple of bosses or whatever that are, I don't know who made them, but they can fuck that off. But yeah, I think honestly the biggest thing plaguing the game right now, and it's probably hampering it, like it's everything about it's trending well, all the topics are good. The matchmaking issues are kind of
it's hard.
That's gotten better.
I think it's relying on on a third person. If you don't have 3 people to play with, that can leave your party.
They're working on duos, I guess. And the other part is, I guess, like there's just the way that I watched something explaining how it tries to prioritize matchmaking, and it's like if I have a remembrance active and you whatever, it starts limiting the amount of people that you can matchmake with. Like if there's a shifting earth thing, well, it's only going to prioritize other people with that same shifting earth. And then if you have remembrance, it's going to further. So, I mean, I get the rationale, but it also makes it where you can wait a long time for matches.
Yeah.
And apparently, we learned that there's a penalty for quitting, but it must not be bad because we had like 5 people in a row just leave.
Yeah.
The minute they either got down or we went right, they went left. And then apparently they were like, well, F you, and they quit.
Yeah. There's no in-game chat, so you can't really talk to the people. Right. So it's like,
it's a good game. And I hope the DLC comes out like soon. Like if they can keep, adding little things here and there, like it's got a long life ahead of it.
Yeah. And one thing we've always been
more than
asked.
Elden Ring.
Interesting. Ooh, only because interesting. I think, okay.
Only because the speed forces there's cooperation, right? You have a little bit of assistance to account for that speed thing, and that's where I like the balance, right? Like it's not just me and this huge giant dragon that I just happen to run into and now I can't get away from, and I either, I die over and over. Like you have people that may know more. Like you have a good mix of things that offset the speed and make it a little more palatable for people that aren't hardcore.
For sure. I got you. I see what you mean. And I have to disagree. I like Elden Ring better. But I think Elden Ring is in my top 5 games of all time. But
it's a great game, but I never beat it because I get mad at it. So
right. And that's fine. And I get that. If you don't love those games, you don't love those games enough to play through it. I 100% understand. But I think what Night Rain does so well is it gives you that co-op experience that you've wanted in one of those, the drop in, drop out co-op experience that, of course, modders have added to those games, right? You know what I mean? In the past. But I think Night Rain, what they do is it's like, hey, take all these hard bosses. We're going to throw them all into this one big area. Now, the difficulty of those bosses still remains. So on top of that, we're going to be like, let's add some anxiety into it to make you have to run into this circle. And if you get caught in the circle, you're going to lose health. And if you go down, you're going to lose a level. So then you're not powerful enough to get to the day 1 and day 2 boss. And at the day 3 boss, you're just not going to be strong enough and it's going to take you longer. Ultimately, you want to optimize those runs as best you can, right? So that you're like, holy shit, I have that much more to think about. Good God. But there is something about it that's really special that I really, really enjoy. And I think there's going to be new characters that they add. There's going to be new Night Lords that they add to the game as well. So it's going to be, I am surprised it's not as big of a asset dump as I thought it was going to be. The Night Lords seem to be the only special bosses that aren't that, which is really cool. I appreciate that. Elden Ring, Night Rain. It's a fantastic thing if you like those types of games. Next on the chopping block, though, we talked about it a little bit in depth for John and I earlier, and I want to get everybody else's thoughts because there were a couple previews of people who have actually played a demo of Requiem and Resident Evil Requiem or 9, whatever you're going to call it. And my takeaway was, and I kind of want to see, John, how you feel about it, and then I'll let the other two chime in, see how they feel too. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, you have not played the first person perspective Resident Evil games, correct? You're more of a third person purist.
7 in Village, right?
Yeah, it'd be 7 in Village. Yep.
Yeah. I've not played 7 in Village.
Okay.
You should.
That's what I hear.
They're really, they're absolutely 7 is so good.
Very good.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought, right, time will tell. But I heard from people who have played the demo, or I don't know if they played the demo or maybe they got hands-on or if it was a hands-off demo or whatever, where they watched somebody play it. But that this the perspective that they watched was a first person where they were playing as Grace, and they felt like they were playing a section where they were being hunted by whatever this creature was, right, in this area. You wake up, you're in a hospital. Oh my God, what the hell's going on? Kind of like the game. The example they used was Alien Isolation. Are you familiar with that by any chance?
I'm not.
Okay,
No.
so Alien Isolation, it's a fantastic suspense survival horror game. Absolutely. Obviously, Alien universe with the xenomorphs, right?
Based
It's
off the Alien movie,
100%.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So like that universe, and you're trying to hide from this thing that can clearly kill you if it finds you, right?
Okay.
What are you fucking giggling about?
I'm watching Dan just like shake his head. And, like I say something and Dan just
You're like aliens, and John's like, Sigourney Weaver. Like, John's got everything detailed about a movie that's 30 years old memorized, but it's like you haven't heard of this game, not once in passing.
just the utter disappointment and just the subtle head shake of Dan is just it gets me.
Some of my favorite shit about the trips that we go on is you two and your banter. But fuck, where was I at? Oh yeah. Okay. So this apparently this creature or monster or whatever is kind of hunting you. So you have to hide from it. You don't have weapons at this point. So you don't have any weapons to like fight back. So you have to like stay out of view, not make noise, not try to get its attention. And then once you do that, the game kind of opens up from there. Right. But they also mentioned that a portion of this game is probably going to be a little bit of both, right? A lot of people think Leon is going to be coming back. They think he's going to be older. They think he's going to make an appearance. And then that's when they switch from Grace being a first person perspective to when they maybe switch to Leon, and it brings it back to a third person. But people said that you can actually, the final reveal of this hands-on trailer or demo that they watched was you have the choice. You can bring the character or bring the camera back to be a third person experience, or you can actually choose to push the camera up to be a first person experience. So it allows you to do that, which is extremely interesting to me because my opinion is, what did we just say? I said something the other day where a thing of many is a thing to nobody or whatever. You know what I mean? It's that lines where if you're trying to please everyone, you're really pleasing no one because you're not focusing on something, right? So I'm hoping that's not the takeaway from this. I'm hoping both experiences can be well received because they've done both really well. They've done first person great, in my opinion, because you haven't played it yet. But then also they have obviously done third person really well. What's that thought process for you when you hear those previews of a game in a franchise that you've grown to love and be keen to?
I think on that note, I think we all know, to go, a smidge off topic, but I'll bring it in. We all know next year that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be. I saw it, Dan. Just give me a minute. I'll rein it in.
Yeah,
I hope.
We all know that game is going to be amazing.
Let me tell you about the Ninja Turtles, okay?
Yeah. Don, what are your thoughts on Resident Evil? Well, baseball's going really well this season. Like,
Pizza Hut all over again. So we know next year that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a great game for however long it is, all the years now that we've been waiting for it. But we know that it's going to be a great game. And that's a testament to the developer. It is a testament to Rockstar for the work that they've put into it. Their proof is in their pudding. So we know over time that they have done a good job on their games.
Slight pushback on that.
So with that,
slight pushback is, I agree with you I agree with you on that aspect where they've garnered the trust of the people playing their games, of the quality of a product that they've put out. CD Projekt Red was the same way going into Cyberpunk, right? So there are examples of it happening is what I'm saying. So I get what you're saying, but that's my only pushback. I'll let you wrap it in. There you go.
They've earned the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
I believe that Capcom respects the Resident Evil franchise. I think that there was a period where they almost ruined it but I think that they've swung it back up and they've gained a respect from the fan base that they know what they're doing. And so they're building that trust up from the fan base that, to your point, what you said, if we try to please everybody, we're going to end up pleasing nobody. I do think that Capcom is going to have enough care in the game now. They put enough care in the franchise that I think it'll be fine.
Gotcha. I see
it
what you
will
mean.
work out, and it'll be fine in the end.
I see what you mean. So you're saying you think the recent success of a quality product of, let's just say, let's keep it recent with 7 and 8, right? Village and 7. So like, you think that those things are, hey, they care about it. They put in its quality stuff. It's well received. A lot of people like them. It's going to be fine. It's kind of how how you're approaching and what you think of that. I got you. Okay.
Right.
I understand.
Right. And like I said, they almost ruined it. You and I, we have a soft spot. We love 5, but critically, a lot of people have their thoughts on 5.
Right.
And then 6 is, of course, a lot of people consider that to be a garbage fire, but then they pivoted and they went another direction.
Right.
And since then they have really pulled up their bootstraps with their Resident Evil development.
They've been on fire ever since 6. After 6, they've been on fire, right? So everything that they've been doing has been quality. It could be the remake of 2. It could be the remake of 3. The remake of 4 is what, you know what I mean? That's been fantastic. And then of course 7 and 8 being released as well.
Right.
So I see what you mean. I got you.
Right. So the trust has been earned from Capcom that 9 should be more of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I bought RE2R, Resident Evil 2 remake. I bought that shortly after it launched, I think very quickly. And I did not play it. That game came out in 2019.
I could fact check that, but I think you're close. Yeah.
I think it's somewhere around there. And it sat on my shelf until last
2019.
August, September 2019. It sat on my shelf for almost 5 years and I didn't touch it. First of all, because I had such hold in high regard my experience with the original, with the PlayStation 1 version of Resident Evil 2. So I didn't want to taint that. And I had heard nothing but good things about Resident Evil 2 Remake, that this is an amazing game. This is like one of the best games ever made. This is just a fantastic game. This is awesome. So it wasn't due to anything like, oh, the game's not good. It just, I didn't want to taint my original experience with RE2. Also, what I had also heard, everything was that the Mr. X was the real fucking deal, and this dude was making adults shit their pants because he's so fucking scary.
Yeah, dude.
As a grown adult, I caved into that peer pressure, that fear pressure, and that game sat on my shelf for 5 years because I was scared that I would be scared of this Mr. X.
Yeah,
grown ass adult.
He does it for you. Yeah, dude.
He's scary. I can't play him because he's scary. So the idea now of with Requiem there that there's that is, it's got me almost kind of getting nervous again. Like, shit, this is a game that might sit on my shelves for years until my balls drop again, and then I can say, okay, I'll play it.
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Yeah.
Today's the day.
Do you have what about you, Andy? Do you have any initial thoughts on like the Resident Evil, I guess their recent run of Capcom and their releases? I mean, you think like John said, the trust is there? It should be all right.
Yeah, I do think that. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I've gotten them all. 7 was absolutely amazing. I got the remakes. I haven't played them all yet, but all those games have received excellent reviews, and there's no reason to think that. I don't think it's just that there's trust within the fans. I think just making great games
Right.
that are worth playing right now.
Mhm.
They're on a hot streak with Resident Evil. Um, I've heard that this one's going to be, maybe it was the things that you were talking about, Jordan,
Mhm.
but it's going to be different than previous ones. So maybe there will be some different gameplay elements too. Mix that up.
Yeah, they've definitely hit their stride, right? And they've been in it for a little bit, I think, now too. So I don't think they're willing to take a big enough risk, like with going from 6 to 7, right? Where 7 was like, all right, 6 was kind of not great. Maybe we're getting out of the third person aspect, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna bring it into a small, intimate environment. You're just in a house when you start, and that family is terrifying, right? I mean, you feel like, I don't know what to do, right? You're like, I don't have any weapons. I can't defend myself. I just have to constantly run around from this guy, right? And I love that suspense, that feel of like, I'm helpless right now, but I'm gonna figure a way to find out and then gradually become more powerful with different weapons and things that you can fight back. So I think that is going to be huge, and I hope that's the theme that they keep, because I've been coming around to, I've put off playing Resident Evil 4 because that is, most people, it's I think I would say their favorite. 4 is usually the like, oh, this is my favorite because it's more action based. But I think that's why I prefer 2. The 2 like Resident Evil 2 remake is because it is suspense. It is more survival. It is more, I don't got it unlimited. I don't have a Magnum or a sniper rifle or any of this other stuff. I'm kind of just, I have a couple weapons that I find. I get a shotgun. I get a Magnum. I, at one point deep in the game, you get, all these other things. So I think that's partly where I stick it, and I really, really enjoy it. So I'm hoping that Resident Evil 2 kind of feel, and if they can mix in a first person feel with that too, with 7, like 7 is, I'm all in. That's going to be fantastic.
And it's a Raccoon City thing, we've all got that soft spot for Raccoon City.
Yeah,
and
I think that,
where's Requiem going? We're going back, baby.
Exactly, and that's, and I hope Leon has a beard. You know what I mean? I hope Leon shows up and he's got not necessarily a big long one, but at least enough to be like, hey, I'm older now. I'm not just some baby face from RE2 that's got just a rookie coming in, trying to save the day. I'm a vet, right? So like,
he's grizzled.
Yeah, that's the whole thing of showing somebody who's either been retired. I've seen endless memes of people saying, like, there's different things on TikTok of people going up to Leon and saying, hey, you got to go back. And he's like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? Like this kind of shit. Hey, you got to go back to Raccoon City. So I'm hoping that's the angle they take there. We talked about a lot in this first episode. I have a couple more quick hits here. We've already talked about one of them, but Michelangelo playable in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. That's huge for me. I love that. That reveal was done the last couple weeks. The second one here, Invincible. We all know that comic and that TV show is getting its own fighting game, which is kind of bananas. From my understanding, this is by the people who made, I think this is Iron. Is this Iron Galaxy? I think that's making this. I can't remember, but it's people who made the most recent Killer Instinct, went off and did their own thing, and now they're making this game. From my understanding, it's a tag fighting game, but it's also violent. It's very bloody. It's very gore heavy from like the show and stuff like that. So I think that's really, really cool to have that. And a two things I want to talk about here. The Xbox Asus ROG Ally X handheld that was announced as well. We got a little bit of a bigger look at that game and not the game, but that handheld. And those kind of things. What do you, I guess, give me a quick, hype level check for what that handheld being an Xbox focused, but not proprietary to Xbox or Microsoft. What are your guys' thoughts? Dan, let me get your hot take on what you think of like an Xbox handheld.
I mean, I am anytime. Well, Xbox handheld is intriguing, right? But whenever it's like a non-proprietary third-party thing, I'm always cautious or skeptical because I look at like, this could be great or it could be Mad Cats. Like it.
Well, it's definitely not Mad Cats, but
you know what I mean? Like,
I see what you mean. I get what you mean. And plus,
because, like,
the ROG Ally has already been made. Like they've already made a successful handheld with that. This is more like we're taking the Xbox OS and throwing it into this, so then it works with all of your stuff. But well, go ahead. I'll sorry, I just had to correct you real quick since you're dead ass wrong.
I mean, that's
What's new?
your personal opinion, man. John?
John?
I mean, we're trying to have an adult civil conversation here. Fuck around.
See myself out.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, see.
But now, like, again, for me, the hard part is like, there's a lot of the stuff where it's like, I don't like stuff I play on the Xbox. Like, I want to play on an Xbox. I want it on a big screen. I want to be able to sit. I'm used to my controls. Like, I don't want to have that. Like,
I get it.
That's the hard part. Like, you know what I mean? There's very few things that are on that the portability, that's what sells me, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite. Like, I pick stuff for the consoles or whatever because I like to play it on a large screen seated format.
That makes sense.
So,
I got you. Andy, what do you think?
John,
what
you got something?
Oh, Andy, what do you got for me?
So I was looking into this, and it sounds like kind of what you said. It's one of these, basically like a portable PC, but with a Microsoft OS, so it looks like an Xbox.
Yeah,
and you can only play like games on Game Pass and things like that, from what I understand.
You can play
your digital library.
Yeah, you can play native games. Like, you can actually download. It's not just a cloud handheld, right? So it's like this. It's more of the Steam Deck than it is anything else. So it's not
But I couldn't play my games that I downloaded from a physical disc.
Correct. Yeah, correct. If it's an Xbox Play Anywhere title, then you get to do that. But there's that library is growing. Yeah, and that'd be, man, they should add a disk drive. It's just a big ass thing. They honk onto the back of it, and you're like,
you're really
there you go.
Yeah. But yes, you are. Yeah, you are correct. In your case, for somebody who buys is every single game as physical as they, if it's an option.
Yeah.
You would probably be at a disadvantage, I feel like, with a handheld.
Yeah. So until they make it so like, we see you have this game, we'll let you play it. Probably not that interested.
Right. I feel you
in that right now.
That makes sense. John, give me your hot take. What do you think? Handheld, Xbox handheld?
I just on adding a disc drive to it. Remember the days of the CD player when you'd walk around and the disc would skip and all that?
Oh yeah, dude. It'd have rings. It would have rings of scratches in it. That's what it would have.
That's why you put it in a disc doctor, dude.
Oh my god.
So
those things didn't work.
I'm looking at a Reddit picture with the leaked price point of it, and for that alone, I'm out.
Well, there's two versions, but okay, I see you. What's it? Is it 800?
The white is approximately $691, and the black is approximately $1,037.
They can't get away with those charging those prices. Nothing. No other handhelds are that much.
For what they're offering, are they marketing it as basically a handheld computer? It's a computer in your hand.
100%. I mean, they're not the only ones to do that.
Computers, John.
Yeah. But I think do you know what the Steam Deck is, right? It takes your Steam library, lets you download games natively and play it on that hardware. It's not like a cloud device where you're playing it on the cloud or anything like that, right? Yeah. That's what the main draw is. So
it's a Stadia.
I'm
just doing it. Andy gets it.
Fuck the Stadia, dude.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think I don't know. I got questions about, my guess is, is the market there yet? Personally, I don't think that. I could be dead ass wrong, but I don't think so.
I don't know how popular handhelds are. They seem to be because everybody has one and they're putting out newer versions. Like, you know what I mean? The Steam Deck is what it is right now. The Steam Deck is fairly popular. I think it sells pretty well and it's well received for those that want to play a handheld experience. But like, I think about I'm getting in the same boat as Dan. I buy games. I want to play games on the system and the expensive stuff I've already purchased to play them on. Right. So I get the traveling aspect, but I'm not necessarily somebody who travels all the time. It's like, do I want to play it in the car when I'm driving 30 minutes away to a different city? You know what I mean? Like,
I even travel a decent amount, and it's like I look at it and I'm like,
it does nothing for you.
Am I gonna? But also, then I'm somebody who's like, okay, if I paid it, I trust this in my bag and stuff on an air. I'm almost worried about that. Like,
right? Yeah. So that's I think I like it. I do like that, but I think I'm more intrigued by the OS than I am the actual handheld itself, because it doesn't fit my current lifestyle, right? The OS I think is going to be huge, where they integrate everything, all of your libraries, all of your stuff on one console and one thing. So like there's an option to play your Steam games on that handheld as well. So they're not just limiting you to the Xbox stuff, which is really cool to me, because I would love to have an open-ended system, right? If I get the new Xbox that comes out whenever it comes out, and then you're going to allow me to download and play my Steam library, that's nuts. Like that's pretty crazy. That's unheard of, right? Which would be wild if it happened, because then the PlayStation games that have been released on Steam, you could download them and then play them on your Xbox, which is fucking bananas to me. You know what I mean? That's a crazy concept, but hype level for me, not too big. I mean, it is what it is. So last but not least, another Xbox themed thing here is the Xbox partnership with AMD for years to come for all of their quote unquote next gen consoles. They say Xbox consoles, so they do use plural on many different occasions. You're probably
going Silicon. Is that what I?
Yeah, you're gonna get a bunch of different probably models, just like the Series S and Series X. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, different price points for different households for different people, so they can all play when you want to play. That's been Xbox's focus for a long time. AMD is they kind of just announced it. It was really all that it was just like, hey, we got a partnership coming up. And then they talked about briefly their next gen stuff. So we'll see what that comes to light. What I think that kind of wraps it up. That's a 2-hour episode. That's actually much longer than I thought it was going to be, but I forgot that we did have a pretty topic heavy couple weeks. And we've been trying to put this together for a while, but Andy, you have anything you want to say before we go?
Not really. We talked about a lot today. All kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think I said everything about everything I'm looking forward to.
Hell yeah.
We got a lot coming out in the next year or so.
Oh
Some
yeah.
really good stuff.
Good shit. Well, I appreciate that. Dan, what about you? Anything you got for us?
This was good. Other than John, I liked it.
That seems like that's going to be a trend moving on. So I think that's going to be a constant bickering of you two, which is why you're here. Honestly, that's the only reason you're here. So
I try to talk about just factual, stuff, and then he jumps in with his. I don't even know what it is. No, I was good. I think you said we talked about a lot. I think there's a lot coming up. We're gonna. I mean, I know we're summer, but we're every week we're getting closer into like kind of the big games periods with the holiday stuff. Yep. So there's just gonna be more and more stuff.
For sure.
That's going to be happening.
Yeah. 4th of July coming up.
I'm done. I'm gonna,
what about you? What about you, John, aka Leprechaun Bomb, aka LB?
So first of all, I just would like to, pass along to anybody that is listening to this. Don't trust a word that Dan says, ever.
John's awesome. John's awesome. John's the coolest guy ever.
Damn it, backfired.
He's a snake oil salesman of the finest culture there. So don't just leave that there.
This is the guy selling broken toilets.
I would encourage everybody to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Leprechaun Bomb. Go find my videos and watch them, and bring up my subscriber count. And also, don't forget to check out my EP Jordan at the Jordan Beach at YouTube. He's got some videos as well.
Yeah, I do. I will be linking all of this in the description as well. So if people watch it and they want to
make sure to watch Leprechaun Bomb's episode number 1 of Supermarket Simulator.
Unless you've got like epilepsy or prone to seizures.
Yeah, disclaimer. If you have motion sickness and you're prone to getting that quite often, maybe don't.
I have grown
Episode
as an
7.
editor. Yes, Supermarket Simulator. You're gonna want to start around episode 6 or 7 because that's when I slowed down and stopped relying heavily on the fast forwarding. So take that with a grain of salt.
For sure.
I have grown as an editor.
Hey, you know what the thing is? The reason people don't start something, John, is because they're all afraid to be a little bit shit in the beginning. And as long as you start and you kind of weed it all out as you go, it's all uphill from there. So the fact that you're doing is
doing what he's doing.
The fact that you're doing it is a big step in the right direction. So yeah, if you guys are checking this out, we appreciate it if you stuck around till hour 2, time marker 2 hours and 5 minutes exactly. As I said that, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. Leave a comment. Let us know any topics, anything that you want to hear about in the next episode or anything like that. The next episodes will be much shorter, but this is an introductory one on one of the busier weeks in video games. But we're looking forward to do this. We have these conversations. We take these different trips to all sorts of these gaming conventions and things like that. All of these topics usually are discussed in the car rides when it happens. So we just figured, what the hell, let's make some time and we'll discuss it when we get some free time. So I appreciate everybody sticking around. Of course, you're watching this on my channel, which is The Jordan Beach. Check out all the videos I've got coming out. Steam Next Fest is going on. There's a bunch of demos I've played. I push out a bunch. There's been a ton of support for those, so I appreciate you. I think I'm sitting at almost 1,500 views in the last 28 days, which is awesome. So thank you so much.
You hear that, John? You hear that, John?
Dan?
My channel is in its infancy.
So we appreciate the support. Thank you so much for sticking around. Check out those videos, of course. All the links for any of our ways to get a hold of us will be in the description of this video. And then hopefully we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much. See you guys.